Greetings, ladies and gentlemen of the internet. Jan Michael here. Over the last 2 months, I've been very limited with my Oscar predictions, only really going over certain categories. Now that we're a little bit further into the year, I think it's time to go into the full-on predictions. The reason for this is that we finally have movies that are Oscar contenders. Barbenheimer has become a very real thing that has blown away everybody's expectations. We also know the movies coming out on the horizon, so every month when I update the list, there can be some significant changes. So it's time to get excited. With that said, let's go into it. These are my Oscar predictions for August of 2023. Greetings, everybody. Future Jan Michael here, coming at you with a bit of bad news. See, as I was putting the final touches on this video you're watching right now, just finishing it up, the news comes out that Dune Part 2 is getting delayed to next year. And what am I just about to talk about in great detail over the next 30 minutes? Dune Part 2. So now I had two choices. One, delete the video, all that time, all that effort going to waste, no predictions for this month. Or two, put up the video even though it is now dated because we gotta talk about Dune Part 2 a lot. And well, I hate wasting time, so the video is going up. Just ignore me when I'm talking about Dune Part 2, which is quite a bit. They did it on purpose. They're like, man, this one channel with less than 200 subscribers, we're gonna fuck over that channel in particular. I can't convince me otherwise. Anyway, enjoy the video, I guess. Best Picture. Now, this may be rare for me, but I'm not doing anything too crazy with my predictions, at least for right now. I was actually comparing my list to that of other YouTubers that I follow, as well as different websites like Gold Derby, and really, my predictions and theirs kind of stack up pretty evenly, with maybe a couple of things rearranged, but I don't know, maybe everybody's just on the same wavelength this year. I have no fucking clue. That being said, I have Killers of the Flower Moon at my number 1. This is my most anticipated movie right now. I love Martin Scorsese's work, so of course I'm very, very excited to see it. The people that have gone to see it have called the movie a masterpiece, which, you know, whenever you hear that word, you gotta go into the movie with some caution. So, I don't know, it's Martin, he's proven himself, so I'm just super excited. But I know a lot of people do have Oppenheimer at number 1, and makes complete sense. This is Christopher Nolan's best shot at actually going home with an Oscar. He's been snubbed so many times in the past, he's come close, so I think a lot of the voters, I do think he has some respect within the industry, so I think a lot of the voters are going to want to finally honor him, and I think this is probably the best chance to do so. And if it goes home the winner, I'd be completely fine. Oppenheimer is fantastic. As of right now, that is definitely my favorite movie of the year. It is superb. I would go watch it again in theaters. And it's a 3-hour fucking movie. I don't got 3 hours to spend constantly on the same movie, so that's saying something. Number 3, Past Lives. I think this is the other one that's kind of already proven itself. I've heard some people say that it's gonna be forgotten about by the time we get to the Oscars, and I just don't see that being the case. I mean, unless everything else coming out later this year just completely blows us away, I think there's gonna be space for Past Lives, especially with how many people did gravitate towards it. They said they cried during the movie, so as people kind of rediscover it when the screeners start to go out, I think it's gonna be safely snug in here somewhere. I have Dune Part 2 on here. It's Denis Villeneuve. I love his work. The first Dune got in. I don't see why this one would not. He's a talented director, so I think it's just going to be another Best Picture nominee there. I do have The Holdovers. This is going to be premiering at Toronto, I believe. And, I mean, there's a lot of people that have high hopes for it. Trailer looks enjoyable. I can't say I was completely blown away, but I'm intrigued enough to be looking forward to it. So we'll see how that turns out. I do have Barbie at number 6. Now, I wasn't the biggest fan of Barbie. I think it's a little bit too preachy with its message. It hits you over the head with it over and over again. And I'm like, I get it. I agree with what you're saying. Stop hitting me. But I think I might be in the minority there because so many people fucking love the movie, have given it like a perfect score, which is funny because those same people I've seen deduct score points on movies that were too preachy with its message. They were always like, show, don't tell. So I don't know why they're giving a pass to Barbie, but whatever. I'm here to do predictions. It's not my personal taste, and Barbie's fucking gonna be the highest grossing film of the year, so I think it's getting in. It's almost like the Top Gun Maverick for me of this year, where I went to go see Top Gun. I'm like, hey, that's a solid film. I didn't think anything more of it, and then it still becomes like an Oscar contender, and like everybody loves it. So I have a feeling Barbie's in the same boat here. I have Poor Things in. A lot of people are very cautious on Poor Things. They're kind of leave it out of their top 10 for now. They don't think it might be a contender. They think it might be a little bit too weird for the Oscars. I think it looks fucking amazing. I'm very much looking forward to it. It's getting its premiere at Venice, so we will find out soon enough whether it is going to be a contender or not, but I am very much looking forward to seeing what this movie's about and what it does, so there's that for you. The Color Purple is at my number 8. Slowly but surely, I see this movie starting to fall off a lot of people's predictions. It's right now right around this moment, right around this part on a lot of other people's lists. Some people even have it right outside, like at 11 or 12. So I don't know. It's not looking too good for the movie. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I do have Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse in here. I'm not 100% sure it's getting in, especially being a 2-part. I think they might want to honor that second part, that finale instead. Kind of what I've been saying about any like multi-part films like Dune. So could it get in? I think it'd be worthy of it, but I'm just not that strongly. I don't feel that strongly about it that it's going to get in. Let's just put it that way. And then at number 10, I have The Zone of Interest. So I really should be putting Anatomy of a Fall on here. I think a lot of people have shifted to Anatomy of a Fall. It makes complete sense. I just actually saw the trailer for it. It looks fucking cool. But I'm gonna hold off for the time being just to see how Zone of Interest does at the other festivals. Because maybe it does get another search, because it's getting fantastic reviews. I get it, it's experimental, so it might not be the Oscars things, but I don't know. I've seen the Oscar nominate some pretentious shit in the past. So, I don't know. I feel there could still be a shot for it getting in. So, we'll see. I'm just going to hold on to it for now. But depending on how things go, I might switch it out to Anatomy of a Fall. Once again, I don't think I'm doing anything too crazy with the director category. In fact, I think this is everybody's top 5, or a vast majority of people's top 5. And I have Martin Scorsese at the top because, again, it's Martin. I'm very much looking forward to his movie. And I don't think the argument that people are saying against him is valid, where people are saying, oh, he's already won one. Nobody's going to be in a rush to give him another Oscar. And I don't think that's true at all. He only has one Oscar. The great Martin Scorsese has only one Oscar. How do you hear that and go, what the fuck? We gotta give him another one, right? And that dude's old. There's not too many more chances he's gonna have to win an Oscar. And if this is a masterpiece, this is one of his best works of all time, I don't see why they wouldn't want to honor him with another Oscar. So yeah, I don't think the argument is valid at all. That being said, Christopher Nolan, this is his best shot of getting it, and again, he has respect, I think, and so I think there's going to be plenty of people who are going to want to give him the win, and it would be very well earned if he does take home the win this year. So, completely on board for that. I do think Celine Song comes along with Past Lives. I don't want her to get bumped off. Let's not make this another sausage fest like last year. Keep the women directors nominated. Come on, guys. I do have Denis Villeneuve. I know a lot of people are like, well, he got snubbed last time, so he's probably going to get snubbed this time. I get he gets snubbed a lot, but I mean, remember the shock that came with him getting snubbed for that first part? I mean, people are like, what the fuck, are you serious? So maybe that is still going to be on people's mind, and they're going to go, oh yeah, we can't do that again. We got to give him the nomination. Or at least that's what I'm hoping for, so we'll see what happens. And then number 5, Jonathan Glazer for The Zone of Interest. We get that international director every single year, and I think while most people do have Anatomy of a Fall in Best Picture, I think a lot of people are still keeping Jonathan Glazer in director. So that could very well happen. I'm feeling very, very confident with these ones. Maybe the only one I'm still kind of on the fence about is Denis, but I mean, that just comes with history, so I'm hoping he does not get snubbed. Again, not doing anything too crazy with actor. I do think Leonardo DiCaprio has a very good shot of taking it. Once again, a lot of people are saying that this is his best work of all time. And so maybe a more worthy win, a more worthy Oscar to go home with than it did with The Revenant. So maybe people are going to want to really give him a good Oscar win, if you will. A lot of people also have Cillian Murphy on there. I do think he's very good. I do think it's true where he is kind of more subdued, so maybe he doesn't go home with the win, but he's definitely getting nominated. I'm completely on board for that one. And I do see a lot of people put Bradley Cooper for Maestro at number 1 because it's also in contention for makeup. And again, there's just been this weird running theme where whoever goes home with makeup also goes home with the best performance. It's a weird combination. It's just because you look the part doesn't mean you play the part. Plus, he just got the backlash because of the prosthetic nose, so does that come back to bite him? All things to be seen, so we'll find out there. Coleman Domingo, people are pulling in for Rustin. A lot of people don't have quite faith in the movie itself, but they do have faith in him getting in. I'd be on board for it, especially if it's a great performance. And then at number 5, just to shake things up, I have Joaquin Phoenix for Napoleon. I'm gonna repeat myself a lot of times from my previous videos. I do really want to see Napoleon. I don't like Ridley Scott, so I don't think he's gonna pull it off, but I freaking like this guy, like Napoleon. His history is so fascinating, and Joaquin I think is the perfect person to play it, so I'm crossing my fingers as hard as I can that it blows us away, it exceeds expectations, and that Joaquin knocks it out of the park and gets nominated for the role. So again, all big hopes, I know, but I gotta take risks here and there. So for actress, I'm just not quite sure who to put at my number 1 right now. A lot of people do have Fantasia Barrino for The Color Purple at number 1, but if you don't have hope for the movie, I don't see what you would automatically place that one at number 1. I get that this is the one performance that has gone home with an award, so you would kind of place it there just based on history, but I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me. It's like, you don't believe in the movie, but you definitely 100% believe in this one performance going home with the win. We'll see. We'll see. I know that can happen, but I don't know. I hear people talking about it, and I'm just like, I don't know. It doesn't correlate with what you're saying. As of right now, I have Greta Lee for Past Lives at number 1. I don't think she's gonna go home with the win. I'm just not sure who to put at number 1. Do I put Sandra Hüller for Anatomy of a Fall at number 1 because she's having a really good year? Could she go home with the win? I think it's possible, but again, I'm just not 100% sure. I have Natalie Portman for May December on here, and then I'm throwing Emma Stone for Poor Things just because, once again, I'm putting my full chips on Poor Things right now. We'll see if that pans out the way I hope. But honestly, I could see anybody. I might not even have them on my top 5 right now. Somebody just sneaks in and ends up going all the way up to the top. We could have a situation like last year with supporting actress where you just aren't sure which way it's going to go. And then you think it's going to go one way, but then nope, it starts to get pulled the complete opposite way. I could see that happening with lead actress this year. So we'll see. This one's actually gearing up to be a very exciting category. Another exciting category is Best Supporting Actor. Not because there are so many possibilities, though there are, but because of who could win. I mean, Robert Downey Jr. going home with an Oscar? Tell me you don't want to see that happen. I wouldn't believe you. You know you want to see that happen. I'm completely on board. That's the performance that came in. It blew everybody away. He wasn't even on the radar. He was like briefly mentioned on people's predictions, and now he's skyrocketed all the way to like number 1, number 2, just in people's top 5. I'll be rooting for him. I want him to win. Another one is Robert De Niro for Killers of the Flower Moon. Again, it's great to get a good bad guy performance, especially by somebody who's kind of old. So is he menacing in the movie? Do you really kind of find him terrifying? I'm very much looking forward to finding out. Ryan Gosling for Barbie. A lot of people have this one at number 1 or number 2. I think he's really good. Definitely steals the show. I think playing a comedic role is going to be a tough uphill climb. Not that it's not possible, but it makes me less certain. And I'm very surprised by the people who are very confidently putting him at number one, because I've seen those same people in previous years make the argument, it's going to be hard to get in for comedy or so on and so forth, genre films, and not to completely dismiss that and just be like, no, he's got the best shot. He's going to take, it's a good performance. I don't know. Again, it doesn't correlate. Just say what you mean. You want him to go home with the win. It's fine. It's fine. I would be completely okay if he goes home with the win. I truthfully do think he's got an uphill climb with this race. Charles Melton for May December. I hear he's the best performance in the film. Very much looking forward to it. And then I'm throwing Samuel L. Jackson on here. This is a performance that he's probably not going to get nominated, but I would like to see. Yeah, I am not delusional. I know he's probably not going to get in, but I would very much like to see. And he has got nominated for the play version, so I do think there is some shot of him getting in. And I would very much like to see it. Could we be looking at Lily Gladstone just coasting all the way to a win for Best Supporting Actress? Like, she's number one on a lot of people's radar. But I also hear that there might be a shot that she's going to go for lead. And part of me makes me think, oh god, no, not a Michelle Williams situation again. But because, as I was just saying, with lead actress, where it can kind of go any which way, what if she does go to lead and she's also the best lead choice? So maybe it wouldn't be such a bad move. And for her to take home lead actress, I think that would be a very good win as well. Again, I haven't seen the movie. I don't know, is she actually lead? Would that be fraud, category fraud? Is she better off in supporting? I don't know yet. You let me know if you've seen the movie. But I think right now, no matter which spot, which category she'd be in, she'd be at my number one. And I think she'd be on a lot of other people's number one as well. So there's that for you. That's pretty exciting. Julianne Moore I have in there for May, December. Yes, all the May, December performances. I hear it's a performance piece type of movie, so gotta throw them all in there. Because otherwise I'd have everybody from The Color Purple in here instead. I get that that's kind of like a safe kind of little pick. You just put all of them in there. That's boring. I don't want to do that. So there's that for you. Danielle Deadweiler for The Piano Lesson. I want her to get in, especially because of the egregious snub last year. Come on, make it up to her, please. Divine Joy Randolph. A lot of people are hoping she comes along with The Holdovers and Paul Giamatti, who, yes, I did not have in Best Actor. I don't see that type of performance getting in, but we'll see. We'll see. And lastly of all, Viola Davis for Air. I think that could be its only nomination as of right now. And honestly, I'm on the cusp of taking Viola out, if I'm being honest. So we'll see. I'm keeping her in there for now just to give Air a little bit of a shout out, but spoiler, it's not in any other category for me. All right, let's talk about the screenplay, starting with my favorite original screenplay. And as of right now, Past Lives seems to be in a very good spot. I mean, maybe The Holdovers. I don't know if that movie ends up being as great as a lot of people are saying or think it's going to be, but I'm feeling pretty confident with Past Lives right now. I think May December comes along. Saltburn, maybe? A lot of people seem to have a lot of hope for Saltburn. I gotta wait to hear some reviews, but I'll throw it in there for now. And then I'm throwing Maestro at number 5. I'm not very confident in that one getting in, though. The more I go through all the original screenplays, the more I'm like, good lord, there's not a lot that I'm very, very confident in, and that's kind of sad. Because I do like original works more than adapted, but I don't know, we'll see. Now, for adapted screenplay, I think this one is a very stacked category. In fact, there's things on here that probably should be on here that I just don't have room for right now. So, Killers of the Flower Moon at my number 1, but Oppenheimer, I think, also has a very good shot at taking it. So those are your top 2. Dune Part 2 very well could get in, especially if it's in Best Picture. Again, throwing my chips onto Poor Things, hoping it is as big as I'm hoping it will be. And then I'm throwing Barbie at number 5. Now, a lot of people do think it could win the screenplay. I don't know. I think there's just too many strong pieces of work in adapted. And Barbie is strong in its own right. But again, I think it just hits you over the head with its messaging. And does that make great writing? I mean, there's great writing, but does it make it that great of a writing? That's an argument for another time. Now, here's the thing. I have been hearing that some people are saying that they might be trying to get it into original screenplay. And if that happens, honestly, I can see it going home with the win. Maybe Past Lives would still have the best shot, but I think Barbie would just be such a ginormous movie that it could go home with the win if it's an original. So yeah, I don't know if it's a done deal yet. Is it definitely going to be in adaptive, or are they still trying to get it into original? But that's just my thought process on the matter as of right now. All right, then we get to the below the line categories. So let's start off with editing. Dune Part 2. Look, I know that a lot of people are going to have Oppenheimer now taking the #1 spot on a lot of these categories, but I still hold on to the notion that I think Dune Part 2 is going to go home with a lot as well. So bear with me, I'll make some arguments here and there. For now, editing, Dune Part 2. In fact, I think I have Killers of the Flower Moon a step above Oppenheimer in this one, followed by Oppenheimer. I think Past Lives just comes along with the whole Best Picture thing. And if the Holdovers ends up being amazing, that one as well. For cinematography, Dune Part 2. Are a lot of people clamoring for Oppenheimer to take home cinematography? I don't know. I don't think so, but there's that for you. Killers, I think, just comes along with the whole Best Picture thing. Poor Things. Good Lord. Again, throwing my chips on there. I'm going to repeat myself a multitude of times, but I think that definitely comes along with it if it gets into Best Picture. Throwing the Zone of Interest on there, just because I have to have it somewhere else. Oh man, I should probably just switch it out to Anatomy of a Fall. And then production design. Production design definitely going to Barbie. Barbie Land, how can you not? How can you not? I think that one's just in the bag. But again, Dune Part 2, Poor Things, definitely got to get production design. Throwing Wonka on there, I don't know. I'm not too impressed by Wonka, but fuck it just for now. I'm just throwing it in there. And then Killers of the Flower Moon, again, goes with Best Picture. Scorsese films tend to get a whole bunch of nominations, so we're just going to throw it into just about everything. Why don't we? Another category that Barbie has in the bag, costumes. I mean, come on. How does that not win costumes? The only movie that I could see it maybe snatch the win is Poor Things. Again, if that ends up being a big Best Picture contender. Have you seen that trailer? Heck yeah. Dune Part 2, I think, comes along with it. I'm throwing Napoleon on there just because it's one of those movies that seems like it could get a costume nomination, but I don't know. We'll see. I'm not 100% confident in that one. And then Killers of the Flower Moon. I mean, most of the time I've just seen them in suits. That's not very impressive, but they've got to have some Native American attire, and I think that's really where the movie's going to stand out in terms of costume. So, yeah, we'll see. Makeup and hairstyling, Maestro, #1, of course. Though, once again, the whole controversy with the nose thing, maybe a lot more people are going to be like, oh, maybe we shouldn't give it the win. So, we'll see. We'll see if that controversy lasts. Dune Part 2, Poor Things. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, definitely deserving of a makeup nomination. And then Barbie throwing on there. I don't think Barbie's going to go home with this one, but I think it's very much worthy of a nomination. And then sound. Let's talk about sound. Once again, Dune Part 2. Now, I know Oppenheimer, most people's #1. Here's where I'm going to start getting into a little rant here. Sound is just one category, right? So while we have Oppenheimer, which has a very good, like, the sound design, the sound editing, the way the blast, everybody talks about that one scene where the blast comes and, like, hits you. That is very goddamn impressive. But sound used to be sound editing and sound mixing. And the mixing is where I think I and a lot of people have problems. Christopher still does that stupid shit where he plays the music so goddamn loud that you have a hard time hearing the people speaking. To the point that I almost argue, don't go see it in IMAX if you want to actually understand what the people are saying. You're honestly better off with less sound, so you can kind of catch on to what the dialogue is. So I think it has poor sound mixing. But then do we just toss that out and because it has great sound editing and sound design? That's it? So what was the whole point of that splitting up in the past then? I don't know. See, that is the argument they're making, but nobody's saying shit. So maybe I'm the idiot here and I should just put Oppenheimer at #1. People don't fucking care. Ferrari at #3 because it's racing. Killers of the Flower Moon, again, I think it just comes along with the package. And then Lee, do you remember Lee? Not a lot of people do. It's a war film, technically, I guess. So explosions, gunfire usually comes along with sound. Okay, score is definitely Ludwig Göransson. I mean, that fucking score is present throughout the whole goddamn movie, for better or worse. But just taking it out of the movie and just listening to it, it is a very solid score. So I think he's got this in the bag. Hans Zimmer most definitely probably comes along with Dune Part 2. I mean, why wouldn't you nominate him when he just won? Well, not that for the last film. I don't know. And then I'm taking a couple of risks here. So we'll see what pans out. But I have Killers of the Flower Moon with Robbie Robertson. Now, Robbie's never been nominated for an Oscar, but he got goddamn close with The Irishman. I mean, he was getting into everything. And then he misses out on the Oscars. So maybe this is kind of justice for him missing out last time. I have Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. Holy smokes. Maybe people will remember the songs in there more than the actual score. So we'll see. It's Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. They get in a lot. And then the biggest risk I'm taking is Jerskin Fendrix for Poor Things. Dude is kind of new to the whole movie scene from what I understand. But how do you have a movie like Poor Things and not have an interesting score? Like, how? Can you imagine you go see Poor Things, you see the trailer for Poor Things, and then you go in and it has like a dull, like mundane score? That would be the most disappointing shit ever. It's gotta have an interesting score. Again, putting my chips on there. We'll see. Song, I have no fucking clue. People are just doing things like, oh, something from Wonka, something from The Color Purple, when nothing's really been fully announced for what song it's going to be yet. I don't want to do that, so fuck it. At the top two, I have Diane Warren songs. Gonna Be You for 80 for Brady and Fire Inside for Flamin' Hot. Neither are spectacular, but the first one has Dolly Parton in it, so maybe we'll see. A couple of songs from Barbie, Just Ken, which I do think is a nice song. I hope that one goes on to win if it gets nominated. And then Dance the Night. Good lord. Turn on the radio. Dance the Night comes on all the goddamn time. How does that not get nominated? A lot of people have the Billie Eilish song in there. I think the song's whatever. I think it's very forgettable. It's definitely Oscar bait, so maybe they don't latch onto it. Or maybe this is a year where one movie takes over the score nominations. I think there's been times in the past where you've had like 3-4 songs nominated for a film, and then the last one's just from a random movie. So who knows? Maybe we'll see something like that this year. That's interesting. Animated feature film, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I don't know what else to say. Yeah, I guess the only other thing to make note of is Chicken Run. I haven't really heard much about that film. People are saying it's coming out this year, but I haven't seen anything. So I don't know. If it doesn't, then I guess we'll just find something else to take its spot. But I'm feeling pretty confident about the top 4. The top 4 are definitely, to me, very strong contenders. But doesn't matter. Spider-Man's going home with the win, so I don't know what we're talking about. International feature film. I'm not too confident in these, but I'm putting Zone of Interest at number 1, just because if I have it in Best Picture, it's got to go in here. But even if I did take it out and put Anatomy of a Fall into Best Picture instead, I still would keep Zone of Interest in. I have Monster from Japan. I have like Chimera from Turkey. Some people have Le Conde, I believe that's from Mexico, about vampires. And I just don't see the Oscars going for that. I mean, it looks funny. It definitely looks worth a watch, but the Oscars aren't cool. I'm sorry. They're most likely not going to go for it. Documentary feature film. Man, I've not seen very many documentaries this year, which is rare because every year the one category that just gets bombarded with stuff is documentary. So I'm finding it kind of funny this year. I'm just not hearing many things. So take all these with a grain of salt. I'm definitely not feeling too confident. I have The Eternal Memory at number 1. This deals with Alzheimer's. The Deepest Breath at number 2. This deals with free diving world record, excuse me. 20 Days in Mariupol, Ukrainian journalist, I can't talk today, Ukrainian journalist who is stuck in Ukraine during the war, documents everything. I hear this is a very dark movie, so maybe not the Oscars thing, but I'll keep it in there because I actually have heard of it. Take Care of Maya. This is about a 10-year-old who gets taken to the ER with unusual symptoms, and then something happens. What that is, I do not know. The synopsis doesn't tell you, but isn't it more exciting to not know? And then at number 5, I have still a Michael J. Fox movie because it's a documentary I have seen. I think it's nice. I don't think it's going to get nominated, but I really don't have anything else to put in its place. All right, wrapping things up with the last categories. Visual effects. Number 1 is Dune Part 2. Even if you don't agree with what I've said about Dune going home with the win in some of the other categories, you know this is the one you gotta agree with me on, right? It's going to Dune Part 2. Also have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 on here. I have The Creator. I have Dungeons and Dragons on here. Like, if you saw my video of the best of year thus far, you'll know that Dungeons and Dragons was my favorite film for the longest time up until Oppenheimer came out. So I would love to see it get some love here. And then at number 5, I have The Little Mermaid. Look, this is not for Scuttle or Sebastian or Flounder. Those things are fucking terrifying. I think this is more for the underwater effects. It's just the blending of it. I think that's very impressive. I don't think it's gonna get in, but fuck it, I'll give it a shout out for now. Animated short. Now for the shorts, the animated shorts, I only go off of really style, not fully the synopsis of the shorts. But take a look at the styles of all of these and you'll kind of understand what I mean by, oh, that looks interesting. Number 1, I have 27. This is about a 27-year-old who lives with their parents, has a psychedelic episode at a party. Number 2, I have Our Uniform. The actual animation on this one looks to be done on uniforms. Like they actually draw on the uniforms and that's how they move around. I think that's actually going to be pretty cool. Number 3, I have Humo, if that's how you pronounce it. This is about a boy living in a concentration camp. Again, the style of it. It's the stills that I've seen are like the characters like a plant of some sort. It's like everyday objects, but they have like clothes on. So that's going to be interesting. At number 4, I have Displaced Garden. This is about a person who flees their home. They pick up other people along the road, and it's just plant themed. Like everybody has a connection to plants. And at number 5 is one you can watch right now on YouTube. It's called Living the Dream. I don't think this is going to get nominated, but it's a very cute short. It's a song, and I highly recommend you go see it because I think it is very well done. At number 1 for documentary shorts, I have The Dads. This is about a group of fathers who go on a fishing trip, and they have a discussion about their gay kids and their fears of the prejudices that they're going to go through getting older, moving out of the house. What they can do to support their kids, how to give them the love that they need. I think that's a very touching subject, and I think it's probably going to be a tearjerker. Let's just say that way. Number 2, I have The Takeover. This is after America got out of Afghanistan, the Taliban started taking over again, but women who have rights that they never did when the Taliban was in control, is fighting against the Taliban because they do not want to lose those rights. So that sounds like it's going to be a very interesting documentary. Number 3, I have Can I Hug You? This is about an Iranian man who was sexually abused as a boy and him talking to his parents about it. So that'll probably be interesting. Number 4, I have Deciding Vote. This is about George Michaels who cast his vote and kind of set the staple for the New York abortion bill, and it basically destroyed his career. So very interested to see that one. Number 5, I have Following Valeria. This is about a Ukrainian resident who became famous doing TikToks about the war and doing like kind of a funny spin to it. So yeah, it just kind of chronicles her journey of trying to get out of the city with her TikTok videos. So I don't know, maybe you'll get in there. Lastly of all, live action shorts. Starting off with The Breakthrough. This is about a couple going through divorce, and then they go through an unexpected breakthrough. Well, very notable, Greta Lee is in here. So maybe along with Past Lives, this just kind of gets pushed in because she's hot right now. Famous people being in the shorts doesn't always mean they get in. We've seen examples of that last year, but it's worth a mention. At number 2, I have Nothing Except Everything. This is about a high school grad student who kind of tries to make chaos of the world with the number 7. So there's what I got for you. Number 3, have Queenie. This is about a 7-year-old who hustles money in New York. Pictures of her on the subway train. Live action shorts do best when they encompass kids. So I heard about that plot. I'm like, yeah, I'm definitely predicting that one. Number 4, I have The Family Circus. This sounds very interesting. This is about a Vietnamese family living here in America. One of their kids accidentally crashes while drunk driving. and they decide to cover for the son. But as the police kind of start questioning them, like things about their life start to unravel and truths start to emerge. And it sounds very interesting the way that they described it. So very much looking forward to that one. And lastly, number 5, I have The Kidnapping of the Bride. This is about an Afghanistan and a German who marry each other, and just kind of the social norms of each culture and what they have to do to kind of balance it out. So very, very interesting picks, I think. I think they have good shots of getting in. But these are always been my weakest categories, so we'll see what happens. And that's all I have for you for this month. I'm very excited. The festivals are starting, so definitely things are going to start shifting around for me, for you, for everybody else who does predictions. Yeah, got to keep a lookout for those films, and we'll talk about them as the months go along. So let me know what you guys think. Was I foolish to not put Oppenheimer at number 1 in more spots? Do you think Dune's going to be as big a player as last year? Do you think Killers of the Flower Moon's going to come right at the right spot and knock some of the other contenders out? Is Lily Gladstone going to go home with the win regardless of which category she's going to get into? Lots to talk about and discuss. So let me know your thoughts down below. Please join me for more videos soon. And like always, stay safe out there and have a good one.